guys, welcome back to the episode of Surviving Life with your girl Teanna Woods. Today's episode is going to be about toxic parents living and growing up in black households. But I honestly feel like if you are Caribbean and if you're black American, there's a little contradiction between that. But when I say if you're Caribbean, you grew up in a Caribbean household, you're still black. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a regular black American household and a Caribbean black household have like the same common denominators on certain aspects of life. So when we get into that, we're gonna get into that, okay? And also, how do y'all feel about the lighting? I feel like the last episode lighting wasn't eating how it ate before, but this right here is giving more. And let's talk about my makeup. Yeah, I know it's eating, but anyways, I'm gonna shut up and we're gonna hop into this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and let's get ready to start. So let's get into toxic parents. I personally, my dad, I could consider him a toxic parent. My mom, she's not a toxic parent. She just know how to talk to people. So growing up, I didn't have like that real bad experience growing up. I feel like I grew up in a household filled with love. And I'm not gonna lie, talking on this topic, I may not feel like I'm qualified. However, I have seen certain situations, and also like given my parents and how they grew up, I could say on my dad's end of the spectrum, he had toxic parents. You know, I could speak on that and say that, so I could see how it could affect him to how his ability to be a parent could have went wrong for him when he started being a parent. But to this day, I don't hold it against him, because at the end of the day, you know, everybody's different. People do not always heal from their childhood trauma. So it's like, I can't hold that against you, because if I hold it against you, I'll only be hurting myself, and I will be stunting my growth and my ability to be a non-toxic parent. So, growing up, I grew up in a loved household with my grandparents, and I was the only grandchild for 12 years, okay? Spoiled rotten, loved it, ate it up, okay? Now my little cousin is here. She's the apple of her eye. She is literally everything and more. Like, the show is all about her, and I have no problem with that, because guess what? I had them to myself for 12 years, baby. By the time I got into my adult teenage stages, you know, my grandparents are like this. So, grew up with mad love in the house. Did not have nothing to fear for at all. My mom did everything she needed to do for me, and that's how I am the woman I am today, okay? So I don't really have much experience on the toxic parent stuff. However, everybody can view toxic parents as being something different. For me, with my dad, it was more so like we would go 3 years without talking to each other. We barely spoke. He didn't really know who I was as a person, because he wasn't really there physically. It was just like, oh, he'll give me money here and there or whatever. But to me, that wasn't fully like that wasn't fully what I wanted as like my dad. But the toxic part about it would be like, he didn't see the issue with it. But you know, that was then. This is now. We're in a better place now. I talk to my dad every freaking week. We be on FaceTime. We be on phone calls. I love my dad. I do. But growing up, I always yearned and wanted that type of relationship with him. But now it's like, you know, it's okay. Like, it happens as long as you get there before it's too late. So I feel like that's fine. However, when I was growing up and I went to school, stuff like that, I would hear other people have these conversations about, like, you know, toxic parents and households. And I met people in college who had like a different background story from me, and I'm just like, damn, like, shit, that's foreign to me. I ain't never heard no shit like that. Like, your mom jealous of you kind of shit is that? Like, to me, it's foreign, because I ain't never heard nothing like that a day in my life. I wasn't exposed to stuff like that, so that was weird. So what I would say with toxic parents is, I'm going to be honest with you, from what I had to take with it, given my situation with my dad, it's not as bad as others. You know, it's not as turmoil as others. You have to, like, with toxic parents, you have to accept them for who they are, you know? And I had to also realize and learn that maybe something in their childhood trumped them to be that way. Maybe there's some unhealed trauma and wounds that occurred way before I even existed that they're not over, or they haven't gotten the closure from their parents, or they still don't understand to this day. So on our part as the children who have the toxic parents or whatever's going on, or if you're the toxic parent, then I feel like you need to go seek help and fix that trauma. Even if you feel like you can't talk to your parents about it, at least talk to a therapist about it, because the only thing that you're going to do as a toxic parent is repeat the same fucking cycle. And it is so sad when I have to hear people who literally talk to me about certain things and be like, yo, I feel like my mom don't like me, my dad don't like me, I have nobody. And it's so sad because, one, you didn't ask to be here. None of us asked to be here, okay? I did not say make me out of the womb and take me out. I asked to be you was being grown and you was doing things. So when you were doing things, I happened to fucking appear. So I'm here now, and I feel like you shouldn't be penalized for that. Like, everybody wants to be loved the proper way, but it becomes different when you don't know what love looks like. You know, some people didn't have that growing up, and I feel like for us who may be the kids who have the toxic parents, I feel like for you, honestly, go get the help that you need to heal from whatever trauma and wounds that your parent have left on you, because the only thing you're going to do is take that with you to when you have your kids, or take that with you when you're walking in life. You're going to be angry, and there's no reason why you should be angry. Those are things you have to come to terms with and just accept it for what it is. Another thing is, too, you have to accept your parents for who they are. I'm not gonna lie to you, you have to accept them for who they are. You don't gotta take them with you everywhere. You just have to accept them for who they are. Like, for example, my mother, I told her, I said, Mommy, you did what you had to do. You did a good job raising me, but the one thing that I wish that you didn't do to me was always yell at me. When I say yell, it'll be like the stupidest shit, and she start yelling. And I'm like, why are you yelling? And she like, because you irritate me. But that's not a reason. Why are you yelling? But no, you don't have to yell to get your point across. You could talk to me. And now, till this day, I be yelling. Like, I yell. Like, when I talk to my dog, and I be like, what are you doing? Like, I be yelling. I be like, damn, this is not good. Like, I don't want to be that parent that yells when it's not necessary. You know, I don't want to be the type of parent. Because it's like, especially when you yell and you're yelling over them, it's like they can't get a chance to voice what they want to say. And I didn't like that growing up, so that's something that I know that I want to change, because it's annoying. It is annoying. I'm trying to change that, so when I have my kids, I'm not yelling at them just because they irritated me. You know, like, I want to actually be able to be like, listen, I said this, that, and third, I explained it to you, that's it. Don't ask me no more questions. But I don't want to be the type of parent that's just yelling for no reason. And in my family, their talking is yelling. So it's just like, from my grandma to my mom to my aunt, their talking is literally yelling. So that's how the household was. It was nothing bad. It's just that's what it was growing up, literally. That's something that I know that I do want to change, though, before I bring my own child into this world. So yeah, but literally with toxic parents, you just have to take them with a grain of salt. And you're just gonna have to accept them for who they are. I know it's like, damn, I shouldn't have to accept this, but when I say, like, if you're living in their household and you're younger right now, you just have to look at them and be like, wow, like, you're broken. But don't tell them that, because, you know, black people, when they hear therapy and shit, they start going crazy. Don't say that, though. Don't say that. Just be like, damn, you're really broken. Like, damn, I wish that you could talk to me about why you're like this. But sometimes they don't know because they don't want to acknowledge it. A lot of people tend to, like, suppress their emotions, suppress the things that they've been through. I'm one of those people, because I usually do it when I go through something traumatic or I go through something that's blown my mind. I tend to suppress it, but I'm learning now, even though I missed my therapy session today, I was so disappointed in myself, but I'm learning now that I need to not suppress too much. It's okay to go through the emotions, it's okay to feel how you feel, but you gotta remember, back in the days when our parents were growing up, or their parents was growing up, they didn't have that type of, like, well-being, of comfort to be like, it's okay, you know, it's all right. They didn't have that. It was like, yo, why you crying? Toughen up. It is what it is. Get on with life. That's what they had. We don't have that no more, and we're breaking that cycle, and I am proud of us for doing that, and we should continue. However, if you feel like right now you have one of those parents that's going through that has that trauma and all that stuff, and they broken, and they always, like, telling you that you're a bitch and breaking you down, and they're cursing you out, and you're just confused on what's going on, there is something deep within them that is broken, that they have not fixed and they have not repaired. It's not your fault, baby. It is not your fault. It's not. And you can only sit there and handle so much. You just have to take it with a grain of salt. And when you get the well-being to get older and get the hell out of there, get the hell out of there. And another thing too is, a lot of toxic parents will treat you like shit growing up, and then when you get to a better place and you're financially stable, they feel like you owe them the world, like you're obligated. And no, the fuck you're not. You're not obligated to do anything. You did not birth them. They birthed you. and I say this a lot, when you're a parent, you better make sure you treat your kids with the love and respect that you want them to give you when you're older, because twice a child, once a man and a woman. Because when your ass is older and your ass is shitting on yourself because you 80 and you can't help yourself, you're gonna want your kids to be there. But the kids might not mess with you no more. They might throw your ass to the funeral home and never look back at you. So I say this with grace: treat your kids like everything and more, because you're gonna need them. You're going to need them. Okay? All right. That's enough about the toxic parents. Okay. But I want to mention one more thing about it though. When you have that type of parent, you start to yearn and you really want that well-known love, and you start to look for it in different places. Be careful with that. Please be careful with that, because people can prey upon you because they sense that you don't know your worth. They sense that you are weak, and they will use that to manipulate you and to get whatever they want from you. I'm telling you now, if you don't know love and you're looking out there for it, baby, it's gonna come down on you hard, and it will not be love. It will be manipulation, abuse. Be careful. And like I said, it's not your fault, but you have to be able to pinpoint the issues within yourself to know how to protect yourself from getting into that turmoil. Take it with a grain of salt. I said what I said. Anyways, now we're going to go up to growing up in a black household, Caribbean household. All my people here, if you know me in real life, I am Guyanese, even though I've never been there. Don't plan on going there, but my dad's Guyanese. My grandmother is full-blown Jamaican. My grandfather's born in Aruba, raised in Anguilla. So, Caribbean household. Been in there all day, every day. Don't slam no doors because you don't pay no bills in here, okay? Lock off the light them. Yeah, lay your bed all day. Go open up the blind. Yeah, all that. Yeah. Yeah. You been up from morning in your bed. You not think say you can get up and clean? Yeah, all of that. Yeah. Yeah. If you know, you know. A black household or Caribbean household, it ain't for the light. I'm not gonna lie, it's not for the easy. I feel like we have some things that we're proud of, as far as getting up on Sunday mornings and you keep cooking and cleaning, and Sunday you just hearing bare reggae and soca. You just having the time of your life when you cleaning and you open up the blinds and it's so nice outside, and you drink your tea and you eat what you gotta have, and you have mobby, you have this, you have that. I feel like that's the best part of the culture right there, okay? I'm not gonna lie. I love that. Waking up on a Sunday morning, bare music, either it's gonna be gospel, reggae, soca, it's a vibe. You start cleaning and you good. Sunday dinner. Girl, we don't cook on Saturdays. Cooking is for Sunday. So those are things that I really do enjoy with having that type of household. But then again, one thing that drives me crazy with the growing up in a black household, and I feel like this is in black households and also in West Indian households, what happens in this house stays in this house. That right there pisses me off, because when it comes to that, it could be abuse, it could be sexual abuse, it could be mental abuse, it could be everything under the sun. And I feel like that is not a good mindset to have to tell your children. And another thing that I don't like is, oh, that little girl mad fast. That's what I mean by there's certain things in common with black American households and Caribbean households. That right there I don't like at all, because it's like, why is that the answer? And I'm breaking it down a little bit more. When it comes to what happens in this house stays in this house. I'm gonna give you a little backstory. I was working at this place for a little bit, you know what I mean? And I never really knew what had happened to me until my coworker explained what he experienced when he was working with kids in Philadelphia or something like that. So he told me that he's working with some kids in Philadelphia. Mind you, these are little kids. I'm talking about elementary school. And there was this one girl, she used to have the girls in the bathroom, and she used to be doing stuff to them or whatever. I'm like, the fuck? I'm like, in elementary school? what is you talking about? So come to find out later on, all the girls who experienced it went and snitched, and well, not snitched, went and told. Well, in the case of how he told me, snitched, but they went and told the principal or whatever was going on, and then the principal had to get involved. The school had to get involved, and come to find out that the mother's boyfriend was molesting the child. So I was like, wow. I was in my head like, wow, child on child molestation. But that's a perfect example of what goes on in this household stays in this household. So the fact that that was going on, the mother just ignored it. Oh no, she lying. I don't know where she get this from. Da da da. Typical black women, typical black mothers who want to keep a man for no reason. That right there pisses me off too, because it's like, what are you doing? You have an obligation to your child. You don't have no obligation to no man. I tell you, the day I ever find some shit like that, I think I'll do time, because why are you touching my child? Like, come on, how sick can you be as a man? That don't make no sense. And as a mother, you're supposed to protect your child. So that right there really irked my nerves. But I thought back to myself, because I remember when I was younger, I was at daycare. And there was this girl, she was older than me. She was probably like in middle school. I was like in elementary. I was mad young, probably like 6 or 7. And she would kiss me and touch up on me, stuff like that. And I thought about that. I was like, oh my God, child molestation. That has happened to me. But me, I didn't really know what was going on. I was like, oh wow, like shit like that really do happen. But I thought about it, I'm like, she was young too. I'm like, somebody had to have been doing that to her for her to try to do it to me. So I was just like, wow. But I'm thankful that it never like affected me growing up as a person. It never like trumped me. It never gave me no type of how do I put this, no type of, I don't want to say insecurities. That sounds weird. It didn't give me no type of, it didn't cause me no severe pain, because I know for other people it could do so much more damage. It didn't damage me, because I ain't gonna lie, I didn't know that. It didn't process to me till I was fucking 22, 23 what happened to me, and I'm 24 now, so let's think about that. I didn't think about it. It never, in my head, it never happened, because when you're young and you're that adolescent, you don't know what's going on, and I honestly didn't know what was going on. So I was like, wow, like that's the perfect example of what happens in this household stays in the household. And it's not fair to the child that this trauma happened and we have to suppress it. And I feel like that happens in Caribbean households too. And it happens in black households, because you hear that all the time. What happens in this house stays in this house. And no, if what happens in this house hurt me and I feel like I need some help, I should be able to talk to my parent about it and get help about it. Or I should be able to speak on it and feel safe. And it's not fair that there's tons and tons of millions of people who get abused on a daily basis, and the answer in the black community is what happens in this house stays in this house. And then you wondering why your child don't want to talk to you, and you wonder why your child got all this animosity to want against you, and then you wondering why she don't want her kids near you. You wondering why all these weird things, and this is why. And then for the parents who don't believe their kids, oh, that really pisses me off too, because as a child, as an adolescent, you don't know half of the things that's going on in this world. So when something like that happens to you, like what? And you explain it to them, you try to word it together, and they think you're lying, and you're not lying. And it's like, when you're so young and so impressionable, it's just crazy to me that people really take advantage of you in that way, and that the people who are supposed to protect you don't hold them accountable, but they hold you accountable by saying, oh, you was being fast. And it just hurts my heart. It really do hurt my heart that's the answer, that's the reason, and that's what you come up with. Your child is being fast. What about this grown-ass man is preying upon his little-ass girl? Or this grown-ass man is preying upon his little-ass boy? Because it could happen in either way. And those are the things in a black household that really, really piss me off, because I've heard it before so much times. Like, I've spoken to people who tell me things like this, and I'd be like, what the fuck? That's foreign. Or I hear stories on TikTok and my heart just breaks into pieces, because it's like, damn, like you really had to go through that. But I will say this, if you are someone who's dealing with that right now, don't let it break you at all. Like, look at R. Kelly. I'm sorry. R. Kelly, what he did, tremendously wrong. He's in jail forever and he needs to be there. But he was preyed upon. He was preyed upon. His sister, the neighbor, if you watch the documentaries, it tells you he was molested by men and women. Like, he was preyed upon as a child. But where he messed up was he didn't go seek help. He became the predator. because it's that fear of never wanting to be hurt like that again. Let me afflict it upon other people. That's another thing too. That's the issues. It's like cause and effect. It really happens. And I feel like if you are one of those people who are going through that right now, you don't have to share your story, but I understand. And I honestly feel like you need to seek help, because you never want to become that person. Don't become that person that hurts others. Hurt people, and you never want to be the person to do that. Be a person who tries to prevent it from happening to others. Be a person who stands out and sticks up for others. Be a person who has a voice and voice what happened to you, because at the end of the day, you can always use that to help other people, if not yourself. But yeah, I just want to share that and get that heavy on my heart, because I ain't gonna lie, I like got teary eyes up, because that shit really do break my heart. Because it's like, what the fuck? But anyways, let's get into the you ask and I spill. Oh, my favorite segment where I get questions and I answer them is, how do you deal with toxic parents as you get older? Now, dealing with toxic parents as you get older, I personally feel like you don't have to. Okay, you're an adult now. You can choose to cut them off if you want. You could choose to have no ties. So there's people in this world that don't talk to their parents at all. Now, there's gonna come a time where you do that, or if you want to do it, go ahead. But you're gonna have to be okay with knowing that there's gonna be a time when they die or when you die, and that y'all made no amends, and there's no way that you can try to fix anything. You're gonna have to come to terms with that and be okay with that. If you can handle the pain of that, it is what it is. Now, I'm not saying go on your feet, cry, and beg for them to love you the way that you want them to love you. But what I'm saying also is, you can choose to keep them at an angle, at a distance. That's it. Because if there's parents who are stuck in the way, if you have a parent that is stuck in their own ways, they ain't never gonna change. They're gonna be like that till the day they die. You just have to accept it for what it is and keep them at a certain angle. Keep them at a certain part of your life. Don't let them in too much. Just keep them right there. That's all you can do, and move forward and just work on yourself for bettering yourself and for bettering yourself for your kids and your potential loved one. That's all you can do. There's nothing else you could really do, because people gonna be who they want to be. People are gonna be themselves, stuck in those ways. If they don't want to heal, they don't want to heal. There's nothing more that you can do. You could ask. I would say first try to be like, I want you to work on this. We'll be able to see therapy. Based on their reaction, it's either gonna go left or right. And if it goes left, then you just leave it as it is. If it goes right, then y'all work together to make that bond, and you heal, and y'all both healed. And that's okay. Some people don't want to hear what you have to say, but you're gonna have to be okay with that. So if you cut them off completely, just be okay with the fact that they'll die one day and you'll die one day, and whoever dies first just has to bear the pain of not knowing that there'll never be anything to fix, because you're not here no more. It sounds harsh, but that's the real reality of it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Just have to be okay with that. The next question is, what's the worst part about being in a black home? I would say the worst part about being in a black home is being silenced, because you're a child. You have no say, no opinion, nothing. They don't want to hear nothing from you. And I'll say that is the problem, because I feel like that growing up in a black household and being silenced leads to the issue of black men not being able to communicate how they feel, and also women not being able to communicate how they feel, but mostly for black men, because when you silence us as kids and you tell us that we can't say much, I don't want to hear this, shut up, I'm not talking to you, it's not even the fact that you say it, it's how you say it that really hurts people. So when you say it like that, it's like, damn shit, well, my opinion don't matter, I don't gotta explain myself to you. It causes us to have that wall of like, fuck explaining myself, I don't need to explain myself, who are you for me to explain yourself? When my mom wouldn't listen to me, why I think you gonna listen to me? That happens when you silence people as kids. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's that type of trauma that you take with you. And I'm like, you like, oh my god, trauma, is that really trauma? Everybody could have a different view on trauma. What your trauma is don't have to be somebody else's trauma. But that, I would say, is probably the hardest part, because you don't really get to vocalize yourself, so it's hard for you to build those communication skills. That is the hard. I ain't gonna lie. For me personally, I feel like that is one of the hardest parts, especially for a black man growing up. That is one of the hardest parts. I'm not gonna lie. It really is. For me personally, I think that is. But that's just my opinion. You ask, I answer. Feel me? Okay, guys, so we're gonna be done with this video. I don't want to make it too long. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And I hope that you guys like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you guys enjoyed the sit down. Please feel free to leave your comments down below. This is a judgment-free zone. I can't act like my shit don't stink, because it do. I'm a human being just like you. All right, if you get it, then once you get it, get it. If you don't, you don't. Me quoting that means I am just like you. I got my own issues too. Bye.